Well, folks, welcome to Herman University, where we never lose and always learn. And right now, we're new with the microphone now that we are going to be able to carry with us. Hopefully, um, we'll see how this show goes with the wireless mic, something I had before, and we will be using it now. Um, Apple invested my here, and we're going to do a little sparring. So, Ernie, why don't you break them up and let's see how this is working out. Thank you, sir. I will use the shaft that is half oak and half maple. Should be very, very interesting. Um, look forward to it. Ernie's not mic'd up because I have a battery for him. Hopefully mine is coming through okay, and we had pretty good audio, but um, had a few people ask me get mic'd up because they couldn't hear me. So we're trying it right now. It appears that it's coming through pretty good, not as light. From here, I can hardly even see if it's on, but we'll get a look at it. Pretty plain deuce. Goes up. Which work is real. That prop. Sure. I'm looking at the volume on the mic, and some of it's good. Some of it looks a little low. Oof. See, when your acoustic level is right there, when it should be out here, it's again, you're really driving your cue ball to the back wall, and then when you come forward, there's nothing, almost nothing.
No follow through.
So it has to be going this way, not this way. Ideally, when you sit down, first thing you did was drive the cue stick back. Got to get that go forward. Forward there, very timid. You want to be driving this ball to the corner and holding the cue ball on the cue tip as long as possible as well. There you go. Not too bad. It didn't give enough handle for the cue ball there. All you did was ride the angle. Again, you drove back aggressively. You're going forward timidly. Nice. That looked good. Very aggressive back again. Very timid going forward. That was better.
Not quite where I wanted to be.
Not what technique. Timid going forward. And that's why when you see the shot, you see extremely weak on the final stroke. That's being caused by very poor warm-up strokes and not really focused on the technique. And the technique has to be driving forward. So you won't see me do this. See this? You'll see me here. You see this? And drive that forward. That's the only way you're going to that ball will run away from you. using the technique that you use. And you see how I'm driving forward? Forward is the key. This. You're going like this, and then you're going like this. You're going like this, and then you're going like this. And then you're stopping right there. When it should be like that. And you could see through. You're stopping here. Pictures, you can terrific handle when you do that. And again, driving to the ball. Do you see this? One of the problems is you're so used to doing everything wrong that for you to get this program right, you said the cue ball didn't go where you wanted it to go. That's not, you're not focused on the technique. Because what matters is what your warm-up strokes being smart are. And that means going out to the ball and holding on to the cue ball and directing the cue around. Because you could see that your cue ball's not getting any command at all, actually. And that's caused by you just not using smart warm-up strokes, not really getting down to the basics, and really just jumping too many steps ahead. So whether you pocket the ball or whether you get position or not, what good is it is if you're doing it incorrectly. If you're getting there and not knowing the answer. You know, it's like cheating on a test and graduating, but yet you really, you know, aren't ready. Nice. Okay, I'm going to watch the warm-up strokes. You know, again, look at the music. I mean, not slow. I mean, you're right. Because, for one thing, again, the first thing you're doing back is if you know, if you're going to throw a punch, you're going to do it like this. You're not going to wind up like that. So once you wind up like that, you have no idea where you're going with it. And the ball's just getting right off the cue. So you're really not getting a very good handle on it at all. You see how I'm driving to the cue ball? And you can see this has got life, and it's moving. That's enough. Thank you. That's actually the case right there. I was going to show you that. Again, you know, I mean, look at your cue ball. It's just got 0 on it. Again, you're not thinking about technique. You're just hitting and playing. And this requires technique. And if you don't acquire this smart warm-up strokes and the holding on of the cue ball and directing it, you're going to continue to have nothing here, nothing there. And even if you make the ball, it doesn't matter. You don't have any handle. There's not one shot that you've directed the cue to a spot. All it's doing is like clouding around I mean, you can see it's got nothing. And it's not going to ever have anything because you don't have the concept down properly, which is the end stroke in directing the ball. There is no directing of the ball happening. Therefore, cue ball is just lost. And that's the thing that you need to acquire. Again, don't move. Again, don't move. Get up, please, get up. Quickly get up off the table. Again, you're driving back into the ball. When you have to hold on to the ball, how are you going to do it by doing that? Your concept has to be holding on to the ball. That's a lot better. At least you have a chance of holding on to it. Okay, again, no follow through and no actual direction, although the bridge work was very difficult. Again, out to the ball, long follow. See how beautiful that shot was? And you could see the handle on. Because when you started out, you were too aggressive. You didn't read the shot. You weren't thinking technically. Again, you're in that mode of no return. It's like going into a parking spot. You're nose diving in every time, and then you're trying to correct it. Should be all right here. There you go. There you go. That's a lot better than what you're doing, at least. Although, again, you don't get the idea of the handling of the cue ball. You're not directing the ball, and you're just hitting and hoping it goes somewhere, but you're not directing it. Directing it is when you hold on to it. It's just if you want to hit the other end of the court, you're not going to do it like this. You might get lucky, but it's going to happen only if you direct it there. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to play the combination. That ain't going to happen. Yeah, it was a little better, although you keep continuing to step on these shots before really knowing what you're going to do. So you end up, like I said, you keep nose diving into the parking spot instead of just kind of getting in your position first and then going in there. So for instance, you see, just step up, do this, and then I'm going to see what I need to do, analyze my shot. Good. Don't move. Get up now. Completely get up. You've got to get away from the table to recognize that your first move was drive the cue ball back. That was your first move. But because you didn't stay like I wanted you to, we couldn't you're not going to recognize it. To drive out to the ball. Okay, don't move. Get up. Strokes aggressively back, and when you went, I don't want it towards the back of the wall. Okay, you're not spending any time on technique because this has nothing. I mean, nothing. It's not soft, it's not nice, it's not handled. You're not handled too rough. When you're going through these warm-up strokes, you're trying to hit it like you're hitting a hammer into a nail. And it's just not that way here. You have to be so much more delicate so that you're taking all the life out of here because you're hitting it too heavy. You're taking all of the life out of there because you're hitting it too heavy. So when these are going towards the pocket, they don't have niceness to them. I'm going to hit the shot with, even if I miss it, you're going to see the difference in the technique. Look at how nice and alive it is, and my cue ball. But it's nice and soft. It makes sense. You don't rough these shots up. You can't. By roughing them up, you're never going to handle the cue ball at all. I'm going to cut this in. And again, out to the ball. Do you see the aggressive behavior going here? And where is it? It's towards the cue ball. You can see the handle beautifully. You don't see it out of control. Oh boy. Try to skip it in cross-side. I couldn't even make it cross-side. I don't even know what that was. Okay, in your opinion, how much life do you think that had on a scale of 1 to 10?
Didn't do very much.
Exactly. It can't do anything when you tell it to do nothing. It's going to do nothing continually. Watch how my cue ball operates to get to the 6 ball. Watch my backhand. Do you see how I'm moving it and directing it?
Yep.
There's no other way it's going to get there. No, it's okay. Leave it. I'm going to do it again. Look how long I am with the follow-through, and look at how the handle is on the cue ball. And look at the accuracy again. I'm going to make the 8. And you could see aggressively. One of the things watching the great players was the amazing smart warm-up strokes by all of the Taiwanese players. The men and the women are just so trained properly. And I got news for you. It's no wonder they won the U.S. Open and won in New York, and they're the best players by a mile. They're just trained right. And when you watch the American players, you just got to scratch your head. It's really tough to watch, actually. Okay, we didn't get the kisses we wanted there. We got, the cue ball didn't go what I wanted either. All right, I hope the audio's pretty good, folks. We're just hooked up. We don't normally record these particular shows. I'm just helping Ernie out. And I'm allowing others to invade this private lesson. So hope you enjoy it and hope you learned something. And you can thank my sponsors by supporting them for giving this away. Very nice. And you could see the cue ball looking a lot better there. That was really good. What are you doing here?
Bank it, and then I'm going to try to...
It's an easy cut-in shot. You wouldn't want to bank this. Anytime it goes away from the rail, that's telling you there's a lot of room to make it right in. Also, it's a difficult bank when the ball's away from the rail like that. So this would be more of a in shot just for those reasons. Okay? Now I got a bad break there. Now you see this is a lot closer, but I'm going to snooker you. I said, when the ball is the rail, that's when you want to cut them in or banking them. Okay, you got to be more aggressive with your last stroke because look at your cue ball. In your opinion, what kind of command do you think you gave that? I mean, that's a 0. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to start working on. It's not getting to the corner of that, court by you doing nothing. It has to be directed. You should have drove that ball in and drove that cue ball up to position. I'm going to kick it in. Whoops, I'm going to miss the whole ball. Whoops. Don't usually miss that by that much, but that's why you got to focus. Okay, not too bad. A little rough, not enough technique, not enough finger work, not enough bridge work, and warm-up strokes. Okay, a little bit better, but too rough. You don't have the touch that required a really soft touch. And this is what I'm going to do here. This is how it should look. You see how nice that looked? Very easy to handle when you don't rough them up. What's interesting is this edge that I'm using right now because it's never been done before. And I like it. I think this is something to go into production with and market it. I don't think the all ash shaft and the purple heart shaft, I don't think those are marketable right now because the finish isn't right on it. And the reason the finish isn't right on it is mainly because ash eats the finish. And you just need, the technique is very unique. Same with Purple Heart. So the shafts are a little rough, and they're not tapered like I'd like them either. But the roughness on it, because of the finish, is really the issue. And I talked with Billy today about it, so we will be working on that, sure. But he's very happy about the ash shaft and the metal being a home, which is what I'm using right now, by the way. Oh. Okay. One of the things about this rack is you're going to need a referee at the table to take that rack off. Okay, that was a lot better, as you could see. Longer follow through and a lot more life on the cue ball there. That was terrific, actually. The reason I'm not opening the chat up here, basically just looking at the volume and making sure that the mic's getting picked there and stuff. Okay, but you needed to do more work with the cue. Much more work, obviously. Good job. You're almost.
I'm trying to concentrate on one thing at a time, and then some things I don't do.
Well, we're here teaching the complete. Okay, that's a lot better. It really is a lot better work right now on your cue ball handle. And your warm-up strokes and your follow-through is a lot better. A little bit more action at the final end of these shots to direct this cue into good spots would be great. Okay. We hit it, but not as good as we wanted, that's for sure. Very nice. And one of the things is on your backhand, you want to make sure that you're using different touches and soft. Like that touch there, you were a little rough on it. You could have used a little bit more finger work and wrist work to get yourself in a better spot there. Although I think you got plenty of room here. You can easily spin this in. Very nice. You could see a huge improvement in his last 4 or 5 shots if you were watching. And you could see now such a big difference in the handle and the life in the cue ball now is just totally different. And all of this came from just using really smart warm-up strokes, you know, and there's a good opportunity where he was directing the cue ball. At least, you know, there's a good opportunity there where he's going to learn now how to handle the cue ball and where to bring it. That had a little bit too much spin. He didn't really, you know, select a good choice there, but I like the technique that was used there. Okay, there the cue ball did nothing. Quit on that one. I'm using this shaft, it just feels right, you know what I mean? One of the things about the taper and the tip make a big difference too, as well as the low deflection 8 spliced woods that are involved. Excellent break. Let's see if I get this one ball. Yeah, now I should be out. Like we talked before, when the ball off the rail, no easy cut. Okay, watch the warm-up strokes and the touch here so that we get shape as well. Beautifully done. Got good angle to get to the 3 now. Came a little bit further than I wanted because I'd like to kick into this 9 and get it out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rail first it. I'm going to kick the 9 there for the 4. So that ain't too bad. Let's see how we do. Perfect. See the handle? Want to leave a nice angle from the, when the 8's off the rail like that, then you can go to the side with it. But I'm going to the corner with it. Ugh. Now there I wanted a little bit more, of course. Okay, there's your break, off the good break, and you could have energy used, all neat, good system, or did you see that?
I was watching.
It happens pretty quick, so, you know, one of the things about my game is I'm very fast. A lot of it is because I'm a rhythm player, so I don't do a lot of thinking, actually. Pretty much know what my job is, so just do it. Again, very nice break. Should be out again. Got the same position as before. Now there's a big miss because it's an automatic run after that. Beautiful shape and good angle. Okay, that's just too rough. The initial approach is too rough. You're not reading that shot properly. Okay, and that's why your cue is spinning and not grabbing, actually. I mean, you're going with the brakes on, you know what I mean? If you're going to go, then, you know, don't go with the brakes on. You know what I'm saying? Just hit it a little soft forward. You're gonna go. All right, not an easy shot here, but I can possibly go right to the four sitting right perfect. Does the 9 go? Oh, the
Would you try to cut this? This seems like a...
and you know, even be cutting it. What I would be thinking about is, what is my technique? What is my fundamentals before I even get to even think about how I'm going to play this? And the problem is just sitting on this. You can get up now. Thanks. Appreciate it. You prep like this. You figure out what you're going to do. You don't step on the shot and then try to figure out what you're doing. You stand back here, you get a hold of what the shot's about, and then you go with the right techniques. You don't make a very, very big soft. You're giving me different looks. You're giving me the rough and tumble look every shot. You know, like a shot. This is another good example. You want to be able to do this nicely. Look how soft that was. You know, how are you going to hold those angles if you rough everything up? Now, I was able to draw that because I had good technique. I wasn't rough, and you could see. Okay, stay away from the right. I want you to watch and understand what's going on with this cue ball handle, because this doesn't happen on its own. The only way this can happen is if you make it happen. This cue ball's not going to go where you want it to go just because you want to go there. You have to bring this cue ball to these spots, and it has to be done off of this, but it has to be done nicely. Look how nice that is. It's not rough. It's real gentle stuff. Here again. You know, you're not going to get this ball to grip if you're too rough with it. Again, right around. Here we go. See my cue ball? Look at the life it has to it, the direction it's going. You've got to be able to do this. Whether I make the ball or not, it don't matter. If I can't control this with maximum handle, it don't matter at all, because this is all that matters. How am I handling my cue ball? Am I getting it where I need it to be? You know, it requires a lot of soft touches. And, and very rarely do you rough up a shot, especially when they're round, light as they are, at the rails and a bed. All those are indications that this is where the women, technically the men. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the women are so much better than the men technically. It's unbelievable. And almost on the pro level, I mean, you would not want to have to play Karen, where you might want to play and not one of these guys that think they're so good. But the truth of the matter is you play against Karen, and you better be able, better job. She's not going to be stupid ever. She might, she's not going to play bad. Her game is way too solid, way too educated. That's what makes her a top pro. I mean, you don't beat Copin on luck. That's not even possible. And then she followed it up by beating the next guy 11-1, who had already just beat somebody else. So, I mean, this is a very solid, technical, educated player. And that's what most of the foreign players bring to the plate. And that's what the Americans don't bring to the plate. It's very few Americans out there that actually bring an educated game to the table. I mean, I don't know the highest wasn't in sight towards winning that tournament. Not from what I was seeing. It was going to be a Taiwanese, a Chinaman, or a Pinoy. It was not going to be Shane or Earl Strickland. I mean, Shane was lucky to have won, I think, the match. Not to say that Shane's not a great player and that he's educated, because he's educated in the game, but up against the same as what he plays against. This is a different level. These are trained, really trained, educated players. Most of the players Shane's up against aren't. And that's not to say that he wouldn't do well against those guys either, because he won't be as successful. Other than him, none of the other Americans can. I mean, I can't think of anybody, really, that would be able to play against the European team, the Taiwanese team, the Filipino team. I mean, the American pool. And a lot of it has to do with they don't have the support that these other players get from their country. When Shane goes to play in this tournament in Russia, he has to go on his own dime, where these other guys, their country's paying for it, their hotel, everything. They don't pay for nothing. And that's a different kind of pressure, of course, but that gives the Americans a big disadvantage against all of those guys. Huge disadvantage. Because when you have to pay to play, that's a big difference between getting sponsored, getting backed by your country, getting a salary from your country, you know, and that's the difference internationally, anyhow. We're able to train like the Filipinos. Paid to train, to hold that ranking. Don't have that. They have nothing. So it's really difficult for any American to forget their personal life and just play pool and chase these tournaments at Snookers and Steinway and Gotham. I mean, you continue to do that, and you're going to see a very depressing person in a very short time that's really lost in their life. Now, all the 5 players on the Mosconi Cup team for the Americans are single, because you can't maintain a normal life and try to make a living playing pool. Because if you do that, you're going to lose in your personal life. What people don't see with Shane Van Boeing is his personal life being on hold for a very long period of time. He's at 32 years old right now. This is exactly the year that I started to say, you know something? I love pool. I'm making my living playing pool, but it ain't working. I'm coming home with trophies and money, and I'm looking at four walls. I'm not happy. That's where Shane is right now. That is exactly where he is right now. That's why a younger player right now has a big edge over him. And also, anybody from overseas has a big edge over him because they're getting supported by their country. Shane doesn't have that. He might have a sponsor, which others don't have, that he's getting a salary on. But the bottom line is this, is his personal life isn't in order. And what really matters, if you really care about the person, is his personal life, not how well he's playing pool. And you could see that Earl continues to try to be the best pool player in the world, claims to be the best pool player in the world, and as long as he continues to go down that road, his personal life is going to be very unbalanced. It's impossible to do that. And that's why people say, oh, well, Earl's the biggest asshole in sport. No. What's happened is he has made a choice, and he's allowed himself to sacrifice his personal life to play pool. To me, I would never make that choice. Nobody would that comes from a family life and, wants to bring a family up and wants to be married. But none of these guys on the USA team are married. None of them. None of them could go into the bank and get a loan. None of them have a stability. None of them are looking at a Social Security check when they retire, or a disability, or whatever, health care of some. To me, that's what matters. And when I see these players and they continue to chase this dream and this ego and the foolishness of it all, it's a great wake-up call for me, because I could have got trapped. If I let my ego play into it and say, oh, I want to win the US Open, oh, I want to be the best pool player, instead of, hey, I want to find somebody to share my life with. I want to be able to get a mortgage. I want to be able to go to the bank. I want to be able to collect Social Security when I retire. I want to be able to have a pension of some kind. I want to have something. Those choices that I made changed my whole life, that put me in the right road, because the more that I was playing, the better I was getting in pool, the worse my personal life was getting. So now if I go to a tournament and I happen to do well, that's going to come at too high a price, because now I'm going to chase this impossible dream again. Look at, I came in third. Look at, I came in fifth. I can do better. Let me, all I have to do is practice more and spend more time out on the road. This is the reason we need a league. This is the reason why they don't work. They work for single people who aren't interested in family life. Also, the sport needs to be in the school system. How are we going to get it there is a good question. If we have that these kids could look up to and say, well, I got a future here, and I don't have to be the best in the world, because in order to be the best in the world, there's only going to be one. You're only going to be it for a short time, and then boing, then what? And that's what's happening right now with Shane Van Boeing. He's realizing that winning pool tournaments isn't important anymore. What is important is that he's able to share those victories and trophies with somebody. I remember Genki, prime was the gangster, when he won the tournament. I roomed with him when he won the tournament down at at Derby, his first time at Derby. But I remember him winning the BCA tournament, and he actually, what happened is he won the tournament. He went back to the room, and there was nobody there. The only person who was there was him, and he's the worst. The and the the celebration, it wasn't available. He didn't have anybody, and I'll never forget that. Ginky saying that was actually one of the worst times for him in his career. Realizing that he there to share it with, you know. So, you know, what's important to you, and I got to tell you, I'm friendly with. I think of Corey Deuel. I think of Bobby Sayed. I think of Hunter Lombardo. I think of Mika Immonen, Thurston Holman. I mean, all of these guys are single. Shane Van Boeing. And I say to myself, would I want to be in their shoes? And I'd say, no way. No way. The choice that I made to have a real life was huge. Because there's no doubt if I wanted to be a U.S. Open winner, I could have done it, but at that price isn't worth it. I mean, you look at every U.S. Open winner. Maybe some have been married, but for sure they've been divorced as well as married. And I wasn't ready to do that. That wasn't more important than being home every night, winning that tournament. This is that I wanted to create a league. Now, do I care if there's a league or not? No, I don't care. It's what is needed, that's for sure. But I don't care if these guys going to continue to live that life that they're living and think that that dream that they're chasing is worth it in some way. But it's not. It's nowhere near worth it. It's going to be worth it if there was a league and you had a salary and you had insurance, and you had a future of some kind, and you didn't have to be number one. You were in a team, setting. But, I did speak to players, and there's players that support it, and there's other players that think they need to get paid. They don't want to see a league. They think that their name is what's important, and those guys are going to get older, and they're not going to be winning. And they're going to be real sorry for making those kind of choices. But like I said, I'm here. I do my show. My main goal is to do my show, have fun, entertain, teach. And if people want to have a career in this, then they'll listen to the business plan, or they can continue to do what they're doing and pretty much have nothing to look forward to. And no matter how well they're doing, it doesn't matter. The best players in the world that are getting sponsored, they're all losing money. I mean, you can't name me a player that's making money. It costs too much to go on the road. It costs too much, the expenses, to live on the road. There's no way you're going to make that money playing pool. And it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're Bustamante, Efren Reyes, Warren Kiamko, any one of them are going to be in the red because of expenses and the commitment towards chasing a dream that there's nothing there. Is it good for a young guy to be playing, and that's why Sky Woodward made the Mosconi Cup? Yeah. Yeah. I think for the American team, Sky Woodward probably fits. But is he adequate as a, qualified Mosconi Cup, top 5 in the United States? I can't even think of, that's not even possible. There's too many guys out there that have much more committed time to pool and have been much more successful, whether it be Tommy Kennedy. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Gabe Owen, guys that have won the U.S. Open. Sky hasn't won the U.S. Open. He hasn't even been in the top 10, I don't think. So, I mean, you know, that's what's happening. You got guys like Johnny Archer, Nick Varner, Buddy. All these guys are like out there, and they got no income. They have to win these tournaments at this age, still be away from their house. It doesn't work. I mean, I know Nick and Johnny a long time. I mean, both have been divorced. I don't want to bring up, you know, all of that, but bottom line is, if you make a commitment to pool, you're going to sacrifice your personal life. And are you willing to do it? And is that person that's also chasing that dream with you, does that person have a career, or is that person getting behind you thinking they're going to have some kind of wonderful life because you're a great pool player chasing this impossible dream? That's a very dangerous road to be on. And I actually have this show so that I can educate people and understand that pool is the hook, but education is the key. That's what we do here. Let's get it together and see what we can come up with on this cue ball here. Okay, we didn't hear it all. Good security. I beat Vieira. Tony Robles beat me on the hill. We've had some I had some tremendous matches for somebody that has not made the full commitment to pool. I can do it now. So who knows? I might play in a couple of events. I might go to Derby for the fun of it. Right. In the top 10 there, in 9-ball. Oh, come on. Got to do a better job than that. Okay, let's see if I can kick it in. Oh, boy. When you hit down like you just did, you're going, but you put the brakes on very hard, and that's killing. Okay, not too bad, but look at your stick. You can see it's very short here. Should have been way out here. And when you hear that in the back, that's telling you that you're aggressively in the wrong direction, basically. Okay, don't move. Do you see how you immediately are hitting down? Tell me right that you're just not, you're not feeling this. You're putting the brakes like this, the brakes. Every shot, by the way. This shot is a nice run shot. You know, it's a pretty shot, right? But you're nowhere near because you're too busy with the brake. That you think that it's really important with the brake. Yeah, go. You're going with the brakes on. Every one of your addresses to the cue ball, you're putting the brakes on. So you're reading your calculation can't be good. You're calculating even when you're line is you have to, when you go, you have to get a better touch. You're just too rough approaching these shots, and you're not really getting nice touches and nice feels. Everything's too rough, everything's too heavy, and you're not reading them good because you're always reading rough and ready. You're not reading light, soft touch, real gentle, spin, nice fingertips. I'm not seeing any of that. And because of that, and the fact that you don't have billiard background, there's just no way you're going to get around the table. It's impossible. So, I could scream all day long and mention stuff, but it ain't going to matter because your information center's too soft. Meaning you don't have the billiard background, you don't know how to read the rails, you're not addressing the cue ball properly, your foundation is, there's not enough creativity, and the touches and feels aren't there because you're so used to just roughing balls up and making balls, not really concentrating on the technique and the fundamentals of, holding onto the cue ball, using smart warm-up strokes. It's more about the importance of that ball going in the pocket, which is not important at all, because anybody can knock balls in. This is a very easy sport to pocket balls. That's not the difficulty of this game by any means. That's the easy part, actually. That's why you always hear people saying, well, we got to make the pockets much tighter. That's the reason, because anybody can shoot the balls in the pocket. That's not what the skill in this game is about. Okay, in your opinion, what would you give that cue ball handle?
Oh, it's horrible.
Right.
I jumped up when I...
No, it ain't that. It's the mental approach.
Right.
The mental approach is saying, I don't care. I'm not going to use any technique. I'm just going to hit the ball hard, and I'm going to make the 9 on the break. That's what that book was written. That's the book that I just read. And that's pretty accurate, isn't it? I mean, that's the difference. Okay, I can go a couple of different ways here, but I'm going to go this way with it. Enough, Sarah. I didn't like that, for sure, huh? I can't emphasize enough the importance of getting on a billiard table. It's so critical. One of the things about my buddy that passed away, Myron, he was an avid billiard player, but he enjoyed pool. And watching me play, he loved because he saw the combination of the billiards and the pool, and that's why he enjoyed my show, and he was a member of both my organizations.
Maybe we can take a trip up to Malden and...
Yeah, I mean, It's not for me, it's for you, definitely. I mean, you should go. Um, for sure, you should be a member. It's cheap, and definitely you will be a completely different player once you get that exposure. What? Whatever. Yeah. Whew. Again, you see how poorly everything was. You saw how this, all of a sudden, because you had no touch, you just went into it like very heavy. Again, you didn't look at the shot. You didn't see the nice gentleness to it. You just roughed it up right from the beginning, and that's why you missed the ball. I mean, got a lot to work on as far as touch is involved. That's for sure. Uh-oh. Rail first. Now you can see on my follow through how I very rarely let that cue get away. If it gets away from me, it's rare. And it's not what I want, but you know, it happened, but very, very rare. And you could see the position plays, the angles that I'm choosing, they're simple. And that's from the billiards. So that's why I'm able to do it so quickly, too. I mean, the billiards, you know, like the GPS, it tells you how to get there right away. Right. Cue ball secured nicely. I should be able to make one of these. No? I cut it in just for the fun of it. Nope. Okay. Okay, we got the mics on, and you're in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not in the chat. Because I'm checking the mic and making sure that the audio's clear, and I can't do both. Well, I could do both, but I'm not. But this is not a recorded show. Although I probably will keep it on for a couple hours to go back and check out the audio and see if there's any errors in the audio so I can correct that. But I hope that I'm bringing this audio up to par. I want to thank Ernie again. You'll see him in the chat as Apple Investor, and he's been quite a help for me and Herman University special, bringing us high definition. We have every show, luckily, and also now we're going to have good audio, which we lacked, and now we're going to have to work on the lighting a little bit, which I am doing, and also I want to be able to broadcast on YouTube. I did notice a lot of people actually joining my my YouTube channel. I have not even broadcasted yet. But I noticed today there was 26 new members that I had not had on YouTube. So I really want to start hopefully getting to those people overseas in Russia and Estonia, a couple in also Romania, all of you guys that are watching on YouTube and not able to get Ustream or not familiar with it because of the crazy commercials that keep blocking and irritating you guys. So I am going to make that effort to get on YouTube, and hopefully Ernie can educate me on how to do that. But we think that we can do it. So for that on YouTube. And like I say, don't be afraid to, give me your feedback. That's what it's all about. When I hear about the feedback on the audio, I'm going to address it. If I hear feedback about the lighting, I'm going to address it. If I hear feedback about the stream or where the camera's sitting, let me know. I'm going to address it. I'm going to correct it. And I want to thank especially, of course, tonight, I believe, is the finals for the Women's World Championship in China, which I have been watching every night, and just in awe of the amazing stream that they're doing. As you know, they're streaming 6 tables, and you get to pick what table you want to watch. That's the way it's supposed to be. So I don't know who's been watching it or who hasn't, but obviously it's a lot more fun when you get to pick one of 6 matches to look at when you have so much great talent. And I mean, I've been enjoying switching tables. At the U.S. Open, they didn't have that. And I got to tell you, it was needed. It was needed. But if Pat wasn't there, there wouldn't have been a U.S. Open. And we'll get to talk about the U.S. Open down the road and record that at a later time. But there's just a lot going on right now, and we're just letting it all kind of make its moments, and we'll talk about it after it's all done. No good. No way that was going. No way it was going. I got to tell you, hit it good. Tough table because it's a worn cloth and it's making half if the cloth was newer. And the balls were had a ball cleaning machine like they got. Yeah, that's not important. What is important is the technique that you use to control. It's just, you don't have knowledge. Billiards